In this video, I'll be showing you the top 5 anti-aging exercises, so watch it if you want to look and feel youthful for as long as possible. The 5th exercise is extraordinary. Watch the video through to the end. Now let's move. Number 1. Push-ups. Push-ups strengthen the abdomen, deltoids, triceps, and pecs muscles. They become stronger and their muscular mass increases with exercise. Frequent push-ups help keep sarcopenia from setting in, and strong muscles help to support bones and joints and lower the chance of fractures. Push-ups also enhance functional status. The benefits of exercise are felt by the body's cardiovascular and respiratory systems. Press-ups improve joint range of motion. Frequent exercise enhances the elbow and shoulder joints' range of motion and supports their proper operation. Push-ups also contribute to better stability and balance. Your muscles are always fighting to keep your body in the right position while you perform push-ups with perfect posture. How can I perform push-ups properly? Beginning position: horizontal body alignment when lying down. Place your feet together. Keep your arms shoulder-width apart. Place your hands under your shoulder joints and look ahead. Bend your arms and squat as you take a breath. Tensing your abdominal muscles, make sure your body is in an equal position. Exhale, extend your arms, and take a step back to where you were before. Do 3 sets of 10 repetitions. Number 2. Plank. One of the finest exercises for building stronger core muscles is the plank. Frequent exercise helps correct posture and reduce back discomfort brought on by imbalances and weak muscles. Planking also aids in enhancing general body tone and resolving balance issues that may result in accidents at home. Additionally, it aids in the stretching of tendons and muscles, which influences the growth of flexibility. Because planking may be a kind of meditation, it is also thought to have positive effects on mental health. You may clear your mind and relax with the help of a static element, but it's crucial to pay attention to your breathing throughout this period. How can I perform the plank properly? Place your hands shoulder-width apart and your feet hip-width apart while lying on the floor. With your forearms on the ground at a right angle to your shoulder bones, bend your elbows. Make sure your torso is upright. Avoid bending over or elevating your pelvis. Maintain a straight position while tensing your abdomen. Do 3 30-second sets. Number 3. Squats. Multiple big muscle groups are used during squats. The front and side and buttocks are aggressively worked during a squat. The back and abdominal muscles maintain the spine's straight position and stabilize the spine. The majority of the lower body's muscles are used during squats, which enhances their strength and endurance. You can move more comfortably and freely and carry out daily duties like getting out of a chair or climbing stairs if you have strong muscles. Your joints get stronger with squats. Squats help maintain the health of the knee, hip, and ankle joints when done correctly and with the right amount of weight. Squats lower the chance of osteoporosis and increase bone density. Blood circulation is improved by squats. Squats build muscle and enhance blood and lymph circulation much like any other workout. Exercise actively saturates cells with oxygen and nutrients, improving both their functionality and an individual's general state of well-being. How should I squat properly? With your feet shoulder-width apart, hold your arms behind your head or straight out in front of you. Slowly lower yourself as you inhale. Remember to stop at the lowest place. Deep breathing and a straight back are important. Take a breath out and stand back up. Do 3 sets of 10 repetitions. Number 4. Lunges. Lunges are regarded as a classic workout for strong buttocks, along with squats. But the muscles of the thighs, shins, back, and abs are all engaged in addition to the gluteal muscles. Lunges are a great way to release tension from the back muscles, which helps with lumbar pain, a common issue for those who work sitting down all day. By continuously using the left and right sides of the body, the requirement to maintain balance and a stable posture for the spine, and lunges enhance coordination and posture. Lunges help you shed excess pounds by strengthening your flexor muscles and increasing your body's flexibility. Because lunges demand a lot of energy, they burn fat and develop muscular mass. How can one do lunges properly? Straighten your shoulders, back, and feet so that they're shoulder-width apart or slightly closer. Step forward widely, bending the working leg to a right angle and fixing the supporting leg at a right angle while keeping it fixed on the toe. Keep your knees off the ground. 2 to 3 centimeters is the ideal space. Maintain a neutral spine alignment while contracting your abdominal muscles. Go back to where you were before, and then repeat on the opposite side. Do 3 sets of 10 repetitions. Number 5. Glute Bridges. The glute bridge is a standalone exercise designed to develop the thigh and core muscles while targeting the gluteal muscles with a static load. Here, the gluteus maximus is the primary muscle used. Not only do the calf muscles function, but so do the thigh and core muscles. Apart from its cosmetic benefits, such as enhancing the buttocks' roundness, the glute bridge has medicinal use as well, namely in rehabilitation. The lower back and pelvic muscles are stabilized and strengthened by the glute bridge. Research indicates that strengthening the back and gluteal muscles helps prevent several illnesses and reduce chronic pain. How can I perform a glute bridge properly? Beginning position. Place your feet firmly on the floor, bend your knees to a straight angle, and lie on your back. The hands are positioned with the palms down along the body. As you exhale, pull your pelvis up and tighten your gluteal muscles to achieve a straight line. To feel your muscles contract, hold for a little moment. Lower your pelvis softly as you inhale. Do 3 sets of 10 repetitions. By the way, friends, be sure to watch other videos on this channel. Videos are on the screen right now. And also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.